Hello patrons, welcome back. I want to tell you about a couple things in this short video. This is coming from listener feedback. People have sent me questions and want me to elaborate on certain topics. So one of which was about deploying flaps during a turn, like while the airplane is banked. What are the issues with it? Why would it be not recommended? Why do some instructors say not to do that? So the basic idea is anytime, and you've probably heard me talk about this in the Lazy 8 video, but anytime the aircraft is slowing down in a bank, it will tend to overbank, right? So if you put it in a little bit of a bank and you pitch up, or you put it in a little bit of a bank and you slow down, the natural tendency of the airplane is going to have the bank increase. So what that means is you are, whether you know it or not, sometimes it's subconscious, you are going to apply opposite aileron to hold the bank constant. So there are two possible hazards when deploying flaps in a bank. One is that you get an asymmetric deployment toward the low wing, which is extremely uncommon. It could happen theoretically. And the other is just simple aerodynamics. The bank angle is increasing as the aircraft slows down and you are putting in opposite aileron to compensate for it. Now, of course, if you're doing that and you were to stall the airplane, that low wing, the bottom wing, would tend to stall first. It would be a really bad situation. However, having said all of that, I am not an instructor who is opposed to having pilots add flaps in a turn for two reasons really. One is, usually when we're coming into land, the nose is down, we've got plenty of flying speed, and even a little bit of opposite aileron to hold the bank, we're nowhere near the stall. There is no danger of the stall occurring. So, I mean, if the pilot is getting behind the airplane and the nose is coming up and there's other sloppy flight mechanics going on, then I would worry about it. But as a rule, if your eyes are outside and you are the first person to catch any asymmetric flap deployment, or you're using a little bit of opposite aileron to maintain bank angle, as long as your eyes are outside the airplane and you're not pressing on the inside rudder, you're coordinated otherwise, then I'm fine with it. I feel like what becomes more of a hazard is when pilots are afraid to deploy flaps and they start flying really strange. They'll be extremely high on the base leg, but here they are turning final approach, not deploying flaps, not pushing the nose forward to keep the flying speed, and they end up way too high, have to go around or try to put the aircraft down late on the runway. The constraints tend to get in the way. So I'm somebody who prefers to teach good stick and rudder skills. In most of the airplanes we're flying, it's just such a minimal amount of opposite aileron that actually holds the bank angle constant that I'm not worried about it. So anyway, those are my thoughts on deploying flaps in a turn. Somewhat related, somebody else asked me about avoiding slips. So in my most recent video with Serge talking about can you glide to the runway, you'll see me do a forward slip with flaps deployed. In some Cessnas, you will have a placard next to the flap lever that says, avoid slips with the flaps extended. What a weak statement that is, right? What does it mean to avoid it? Does it mean, can I do it or can I not do it, right? And so if you dig into that, what you will find is under certain loading, as you get closer to maximum gross weight, the test pilots were able to, when they had full flaps deployed, and in a lot of these models where that's placarded, full flaps is 40 degrees, not 30 degrees. With full flaps deployed at maximum gross weight, the aircraft would experience small pitch oscillations. All right, and that was really the extent of it. So they didn't know what to make of it, and the legal department got together with the engineers and the test pilots, and they came up with that placard, avoid slips with the flaps extended. I can tell you in over 20 years of flying Cessnas, I have been unable to duplicate that pitch oscillation. Now keep in mind, of course, I'm not often flying close to max gross weight in 172s, but that's where that comes from. And yes, I will sometimes, when necessary, slip with the flaps extended in a Cessna. I will try to avoid it, but if it's necessary to glide to the runway or hit a spot, I'm not opposed or afraid of doing it. So, all right, I hope you guys got something out of that. Thank you so much for your support here on Patreon. There's another video to follow this one for $10 patrons, and today we're having our $20 patron hangout at 11 a.m. If you want to edit your pledge before then, you're welcome to join us. We do that once a month, so you can ask me questions and we kind of interact. So, but at whatever level you are, I thank you so much for your support. It makes all the difference in getting these videos and podcasts out. So thank you.